Okay, again, I'm posting these first 4 videos this way. I'm doing this because I don't want the camera to be on me. I'm doing my best to make sure that you don't get the impression that this is all about me, because it is not. This is video 3 of 5, posted on September 22nd. If you begin this series of videos by watching this one first, then please stop. Go back and watch the intro to Elijah, then video number 1, then video number 2, then video number 3, which is this one. And I will post videos 4 and 5 on September 23rd. God bless you. The title of this video is, What Kind of Man? If you are a Christian, then these are the days we really need God to show up on the scene in our lives. I need Him to show me that what He saved me for 30 years ago, was not to be just another soul saved from the pits of hell. After all He and I have been through in life since He saved me, I knew the one thing He knew the most about me was that I was a master at making anyone prove to me in life that they really had what it took to convince me that they or He could teach me something. After all, I came from a very distorted background. I knew that every time someone told me they had something they wanted to teach me because it was a law I needed to know or basic information such as an education and so on, that it was all for my so-called good. What I usually found was that they had their motives, and it usually wasn't or didn't involve my good. Most of the time, I felt like they just wanted to brainwash me. As I got older, I put together my own creed, if you will, of just how I would allow someone or something to affect or change me with regards to what the best for me was in life. This creed idea of mine was kind of like baking a cake. If all the ingredients were right, i.e. the input from someone or something, the cake would bake perfectly, and the result would be that I liked it, it tasted good, and it was good for me. And it would ultimately be accepted by me, and I would allow it to change me. If, however, I found to the contrary, I would simply chalk it up to something else other than total truth and place it somewhere on the heap of the tried attempts in my life and file it accordingly. This pattern would in turn help me to find out my priorities in life, and that is how I worked to become successful. I never allowed anyone or anything in life to determine how successful I was. I used this as my pattern, and it has never failed me to this very day, and it never will. So all that aside, how does one become like the person he or she desires most in life? I believe it's as simple as following patterns, as simple as having the ability to follow the leader or the one who bakes the best cakes. The only question is who would qualify as someone I could believe was a true leader worth following and whose cake tasted the best. The answer for me was simple. It was Yeshua, the Christ, and no other. It was He who caused me to follow something for 30 years, something that would prove to be the best thing in life for me. He showed me the way because the ingredients, His Word, proved to me no one else ever made a better cake in my life for me to eat because His was the best ever. No one else on this earth, past, present, or future, could bake the ultimate cake for my life, and I knew it. I never aspired to be President of the United States or a dignitary or a school teacher or anything else, mainly because all those cakes tasted good to the flesh but never fed my spirit man. I also tried other aspirations, things such as Sunday school teacher, usher, deacon, elder, even a church janitor, but none of these seemed to fit. It wasn't long after realizing that I had tried all the other things both in life for the flesh and in service for the church that I realized I wasn't cut out to be any of those things. So by reason of elimination, it didn't take long to figure out that I was called to be something else. It didn't take long to find that all along what really got my attention wasn't trying to save the planet like I ever thought I could, or become a brain surgeon or cop. Not one of those things moved me like the passion I felt for the kingdom of God. I began to be jealous for it. It didn't take me long to realize that all my life I was living for something that most everyone else on the planet wasn't living for. I began to feel for the kingdom of God like no one I knew. It seemed everywhere I looked, people had some cause to feel sorry for, some animal or group of people to have a cause for. Whether a politician was telling me it takes a village, or an environmentalist telling me I was a nut because I didn't care for the planet enough, I couldn't help feeling these people were all lost, totally. I've never believed in PC, political correctness, because I have never found much of anything correct about politics. The whole system is damned. Whether it's a politician begging for money every 2 or 4 years to get elected and try to prove to me the system can do a better job for me or the planet than God can, or whether it's some poor, misguided fool who thinks he or she can save the planet because they are an environmentalist, the only thing those people have ever proved to me is that they always end up being just plain mentalists, period. They never save anything. They just use their cause to justify more reasons to be allowed to come into my pocket and steal more of the money I make, and have the authority to do so because the politicians side with them for the most part because they're bedfellows. They might be helping their cause, but it's with my money, and 99% of the time, the planet gets worse anyhow. This is all just madness, and I'm convinced demonic activity at best. These people will never save the planet because it's not theirs to save, but that's another story. So how does one allow a God whose kingdom is not of this world cause him to become more involved in the affairs of that kingdom, more than the cares of the planet on which he lives? The answer is simple. I just follow the leader, Yeshua. He has all the answers for me that no politician, lawyer, doctor, preacher, teacher, mother, or father of this life ever had for me. When I began tasting his ingredients, it wasn't long before I realized he was actually showing me that the ingredients were inside of me. Not long after that, I began to see that all the ingredients were in the bowl. And not long after that, I opened my eyes one day and I saw that I was the bowl. I mean, this was really getting somewhere with me. So after a journey of 30 years and careful listening, it didn't take long to figure out how he would bring about the fulfillment of his word, Malachi 4, verses 5 and 6, and that it was time to bake the cake. Once I could see this, how the oven, or time, was matching up with the ingredients, me, for the purpose of baking, or doing his will for my life, the cake, recreating the cake again in 1 Kings 18:21 through 40, I knew that he was about to show the world his best effort again with a man of flesh for a one last chance effort to unite the world for the cause of his kingdom. He will pour out of his Spirit one last time before his judgment comes to cause the world to know that he alone is God and there is no other. This grand event or fulfilling of Malachi 4 verses 5 and 6 is going to be very interesting, considering it would take nothing short of a very miraculous attempt by any means today for one man to attempt to bake again a cake that is almost 3,000 years old for the whole world to see. In order for the one to do that, he would have to have a vehicle or means and technology, the ability, and the sheer ingenuity of mind to be able to even hope he could repeat the 1 Kings 18 act. In short, how could one possibly hope to get the whole world's attention at one time and prove that this was actually done right in front of every eye to see, let alone have the proof that it was actually done? Would the world take note? Would the world believe? Could the hearts of the fathers and the children be turned back one again to another? Could love reign on the earth again, even for just a little while? Could you believe? I guess the only question is, who would this fool be and why would he want to do this? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Times and seasons, they are upon us. Don't you think that the world needs love? Be sure to watch the next video titled Elijah 4, What Kind of God, to see how this secret will come about. Look for it September 23rd. May the peace of the one true God be with you.